If you're not using skincare products or someone you know isn't taking care of their skin, this video is for you. I'm going to give you tips on how to enjoy skincare and use it consistently. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Dr. Sam Ellis, and I'm a board-certified medical and cosmetic dermatologist in Northern California. I'm here to help you understand your skin and find products that work for you. So if that sounds good, give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Tip number one is to ask yourself why you or the person you're trying to get involved with skincare isn't using it. You really have to have a good understanding of why someone doesn't want to use skincare before you can pick the right intervention for them. I found as a dermatologist, there are a few different reasons why people don't use skincare or don't like it. So let's review. I think one of the main reasons is people don't actually see the point of skincare. They maybe haven't used it for their entire life and their skin is doing okay, so why bother? But the reality is sun damage and other types of environmental stressors compound on themselves. So you may not be seeing damage now, but if you're not protecting or taking care of your skin, that damage can show up later when it feels like it's too late. I can tell you as a doctor and as a dermatologist, a lot of people don't show up to get things fixed until they're really dealing with a problem, whether that's a cosmetic issue or a medical issue. So the more proactive you can be with taking good care of your skin, the better your skin is going to serve you in the long run. I think another reason why people don't like doing skincare is they feel like it's too time consuming. And I get it, we all have really busy lives, but there are ways to streamline a skincare routine to make it effective and practical. Also, if you're new to skincare and you don't have a lot of things in your routine, it can feel like kind of an expense. And there are definitely more pricey skincare items out there, but there are also options that fit within any type of budget. I think two other big reasons why people don't like skincare is because they don't like how it feels on their skin. So it might feel heavy or sticky or greasy, or they don't like how it looks on their skin. So maybe it feels okay, but they don't like the finish, whether that's a white cast in the sunscreen or a greasy finish of a heavy moisturizer. And then I think another big reason why people aren't consistent with their skincare or don't like to use skincare is they don't feel like it's solving the problem that they're trying to get at. If you're watching this because you don't like to use skincare or maybe a loved one doesn't like to use skincare, I'd be very curious to know what your reasons are. So please let me know in the comments. Tip number two, start small. You don't need a multi-step skincare routine, and there are very few true skincare essentials. So start with one step a day. When I think of the essentials when it comes to skincare, there's really only two things that I would love for everyone to do every single day as a dermatologist, and that's to cleanse your face at least once a day and to apply sunscreen. So you really can start with just that. I think the easiest way to do this would be to wake up and apply sunscreen. You don't need to wash your face before you apply sunscreen. It's fine to just shower and put your sunscreen on, or if you're not a morning showerer, just put a layer of sunscreen on and you're good to go for the day, and then cleanse your face once at night. I know some people are probably like, well, where's moisturizer come in? And I would love for someone to be able to use a moisturizer, but if they're not even in the habit of protecting their skin every day and cleansing their face, then a moisturizer becomes less of a big deal. But that is sort of the next thing you would add. You would do sunscreen in the morning, cleanser in the evening, followed by a moisturizer. And moisturizers, like I mentioned, are not essential for everyone. If someone washes their face and their skin does not feel dry or tight or uncomfortable afterward, they don't necessarily need one. And then the last thing as a dermatologist I would think of as sort of a core skincare essential is a retinol or a topical retinoid to help with anti-aging or sort of optimal aging of the skin. So you have a sunscreen in the morning, a cleanser and a moisturizer, and then maybe we're adding in a retinoid if we want to get a little bit fancy. One of the biggest questions I get is, okay, I understand that I need to use a cleanser and a moisturizer and a sunscreen and maybe a retinoid, but like, which ones do I use? Which ones are going to feel good on my skin? Or more often I get the question of which ones can my partner or my loved one, my spouse, my father use and is going to actually enjoy using. One of my favorite super easy cleansers to use is the Bioderma Micellar Water. So this you can kind of think of as a gentle, less irritating makeup wipe. The way you use this is you essentially take some of the micellar water, you pour it onto a cotton round and you swipe it over the face. That's going to help you remove things like sunscreen and just the dirt and oils that accumulate on the face over the course of the day. The reason I like this one so much is it's very satisfying to use because if you have any dirt or debris that's on your face, you can actually see it come off on the cotton round, and the fact that you see how effective that cleanser is being makes it more likely that you're going to stick with it. I also really like micellar water because because it's less messy than washing your face. You're not worried about splashing water all around. And you can also do this anywhere. You don't have to do it in your bathroom. For people who are really bad about being consistent about washing their face, I tell them to just leave some cotton rounds and micellar water on their bedside table. And even if they've popped in bed at night, they realize they didn't wash their face, they can reach over and do a 2-second skincare routine. I also have a patient of mine who her son plays baseball. He's in high school. He's not great at washing his face. And so she keeps her micellar water and cotton rounds in the car. And after practice, she just gets one ready, passes it back to him, and he can kind of wash his face in the car on the way home from practice. And the other thing that's really nice about micellar water is you don't have to rinse it off. So when I use micellar water, I do like to follow it up with another cleanser, but it's formulated in a way that you could use it on its own without rinsing it off or washing it off afterward, and it's still really effective. Another cleanser that I absolutely love is the Skin Fix Barrier Foaming Oil Cleanser. So this is more like a traditional cleanser, but one thing I really love about it is that it has a little bit of slip and hydration to it, so it doesn't feel like it's stripping your skin or leaving your skin depleted, but you also get this really satisfying lather when you use it, and it's great at removing makeup as well as sunscreen. This is probably one of my favorite cleansers to bring with me on like a beach vacation, because on days when I'm applying a lot of sunscreen or I have a lot of product buildup on my face, I know it's going to get my face clean without leaving it feeling dry or tight. And the reason I love this so much for people who maybe have a very minimalist skincare routine is because it has that hydrating factor to it. You may not need to follow it with a moisturizer to keep your skin feeling really good. Now, once you've established a consistent cleansing routine, you may feel like your skin wants a little bit of moisture, and that's when you can start bringing a moisturizer in as well. One of my favorite moisturizers, especially for skincare newbies, is the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Gel Cream. The reason I like gel cream moisturizers in general so much is because they feel incredibly lightweight on the skin, but they still add that layer of hydration that a lot of people are craving. I'm probably a little partial to this Neutrogena one because it was the first moisturizer that I feel like I could get my dad to use consistently. And even though I get sent all types of skincare and I want to buy him all sorts of things, he still requests the Neutrogena Hydro Boost. For people who maybe have slightly drier skin or are looking for something a little bit more rich but that still feels lightweight on the skin, I also really love the Naturium Multi-Peptide Moisturizer. The Naturium Multi-Peptide Moisturizer is one of my favorites because it plays so nicely on multiple skin types. So whether you're dry or combination or even a little bit oily, I feel like it sits really well on the skin, and it also layers beautifully under makeup. A lot of times I get questions about, well, what's a good moisturizer for day versus a good moisturizer for nighttime? And the reality is it's just about the textures that you like. And most of my moisturizers I use day and night depending on what I want my skin to feel like and look like. Now let's talk about sunscreens. This might be the biggest point of contention or the hardest thing, and I know I personally struggle with this with like my husband and my dad, of getting them to wear sunscreen consistently. So having good sunscreen options I think is super, super important. Here are a few that I love. One of my favorite sunscreens for people who are new to skincare or maybe a little bit apprehensive about incorporating a sunscreen into their routine is the Olay Complete SPF 30. This is a 2-in-1 moisturizer and sunscreen, and what you'll actually find as you use and try more sunscreens is that many of them are formulated in a moisturizing base. So that's the other thing, is you might not have to apply a moisturizer before your sunscreen, and that saves you a step. That's another tip I have for people who are new to skincare or don't enjoy using skincare, or for people who feel like it's too time consuming, is look for 2-in-1 products. If you have a moisturizer and a sunscreen, or you have a super hydrating cleanser, those are ways that you can save on skincare steps and ultimately save you time, effort, and money. I think this sunscreen is really user-friendly because it has no white cast, it rubs in super well to the skin, it's very affordable, and it's accessible at most drugstores. Another sunscreen that I really love, especially for people who don't like sunscreen, is the Coast Suncut Aqualy UV Protect Gel. This is an SPF 50 Japanese sunscreen, and what I love about it so much is how clear it goes onto the skin and how quickly it dries down. I find for a lot of people, they don't enjoy that sticky or tacky residue that sunscreens can leave behind, and they just want to put it on and forget about it. I also find that this works really well in beards or facial hair. So if there's someone you love who you're trying to get them to wear sunscreen more consistently, I think this is an awesome one to try. Another sunscreen I really love and recommend all the time is the Banana Boat Light as Air Sunscreen SPF 50. This is a broad spectrum, lightweight lotion that rubs in so easily to the skin and has a really nice, pleasant, sort of neutral scent, and you can apply it on your face or your body. I also love that this is accessible, so you can get it in most drugstores, and that it's incredibly, incredibly affordable. This is one of my favorite sunscreens for the pool or the beach because it also gives you 80 minutes of water resistance, and I find that with these water resistant sunscreens, they can often feel tacky or sticky on the skin, and this one doesn't have any of that. So aside from starting small with a minimal routine and using products that you really love to use, the next tip I have is to habit stack. And habit stacking is the strategy of incorporating a new habit into your routine by pairing it with one you already have. So for example, applying sunscreen after you brush your teeth in the morning. You already brush your teeth every single day, and if you stack a sunscreen habit with that, you're a lot more likely to be consistent. So many times I'll ask my husband, did you put sunscreen on? And he'll be like, oh no, I forgot. And the easiest way to not forget is to pair it with something that they do so consistently. So for him, he has a cappuccino every morning, sunscreen goes on after. Another tip I have is to not force it. And this really applies to trying to get someone else to be consistent with their skincare routine, whether that's a teenager, a sibling, a partner, a parent, etc. Because ultimately, people don't love being told what to do or nagged. Whenever I've talked about sunscreen with my husband, sorry to bring him up, but he's the person I'm around the most, it's because I care about him, right? Like, I don't want him to get skin cancer. I want his skin to be healthy. And when I frame it like that, I think he's a lot more receptive to my suggestions. The same strategy sort of applies to my parents who are trying to get their teenagers to be consistent with a skincare routine. Rather than just telling them, this is what you have to do, this is part of growing up, really explaining why it's important to take care of your skin and what benefits they may see may get them more on board. Speaking of developing a routine, I think another thing that can really help people is to use some type of skincare kit or system. One thing I really like about systems or kits is these products really are designed to be used with one another, and you're less likely to have redundant steps because they understand what you're already using in your routine and they're making the next step suggestion for you. I also feel like it makes your skincare feel a lot less random when you have steps that are meant to be used sequentially. It just makes a lot more sense. So let's talk about a couple of skincare sets that I really like. Not all skincare sets are created equal, and I find that some have excessive steps, but these ones are really great. One of my absolute favorite kits is the Differin Clear Skin Set. This is a 3-step skincare routine designed for people struggling with acne, and it includes a cleanser, adapalene 0.1% gel, which is an anti-acne treatment, and a moisturizer with sunscreen. Adapalene is one of my absolute favorite anti-acne skincare ingredients because it helps clean out your pores, it improves cell turnover. It actually used to be a prescription acne ingredient and now is available over the counter. And I also love it because it's a lot less irritating than a lot of other topical acne treatments. One thing to keep in mind though is anytime you're doing an acne skincare routine is you have to give it time to see results. So I strongly recommend using a system like this for at least 3 months before you decide if it's working for you or not. Another skincare set that I really like is by SkinCeuticals. It's their brightening vitamin C and retinol set. Compared to that acne set that I just recommended, I would say this set is more for mature skin or for people who are trying to brighten or take those anti-aging steps in their skincare routine. I find that a lot of times when people are trying to start an anti-aging skincare routine, it can feel really overwhelming, and this sort of narrows it down to a few really essential things. First, this has one of their patented vitamin C serums, Floritin CF. This is a 10% L-ascorbic acid vitamin C serum, and what I love about it is that it's very gentle on the skin. Yes, it's a little bit spendy, but the reason for that is because SkinCeuticals has done a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to vitamin C research, and this is a proven formula. This also contains a serum called Discoloration Defense, which helps combat irregular pigment in the skin. So both the vitamin C topical in the Floritin CF and the Discoloration Defense are working to brighten the overall complexion. And the way that you use these is in the morning, you would apply the Floritin CF, let it dry down for a few seconds, and then apply the Discoloration Defense right on top. These are both really thin, liquidy serums, and they layer very well with one another. This kit also contains an SPF 50 sunscreen, the SkinCeuticals Physical Fusion, which is a really nice, lightweight, milky sunscreen with a slight tint. So for someone looking to combat pigment, it's not just about reversing the pigment you have with topicals, but also protecting from UV damage. So that sunscreen step is really essential. And lastly, this kit contains 0.5% topical retinol. And retinol is a skincare ingredient that we use to help reverse early signs of sun damage and skin aging, like fine lines, wrinkles, and irregular pigmentation. And then my final tip for enjoying skincare and making it part of your daily routine is to really find products that you enjoy. Get inspired by what you're using. Even for someone like me who specializes in the treatment of skin diseases, who loves skincare, and who has a pretty extensive skincare routine, there are still products that don't really inspire me to use them, and I'm a lot less compliant. So it really is important to find products that you love. So this might involve finding products that have really nice textures, products that have a fragrance that you really enjoy, or even getting a little bit fancy. Like, I know my husband loves when I bring something fancy home for him to use, and he's a lot more compliant. And that's okay. If it takes a little bit of bouginess to really enjoy your skincare, so be it. All right, so have I convinced you to start a skincare routine? What are some of the reasons you or someone you know hasn't started their skincare routine yet? Please tell me in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.